Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. My name is Malie, and today's a beautiful day, and I wanted to give you an update on my outdoor gardens. Now I'm here in Utah, zone 6/7, and we've had a pretty decent winter so far. We haven't had the huge storms that other people have had, but we've had a lot of storms. So our water outlook has been really good. I've been really happy to have this much moisture. Last year around this time, we had hardly had any snow at all. But as you can see around me, we do have snow right now, and we've had snow on the ground most of the winter, and we've also had quite a bit of rain. Now, today it is almost 40 degrees. It feels really good because it's been a lot colder than that. The coldest we've gotten has been around 10 degrees. And my plants are doing really well. Now, I do grow inside really small hoop houses. I've created hoop houses out of greenhouse plastic and PVC pipe, and I'll link a video up at the top to show you how I made these. But I wanted to show you the crops that I have growing in there and how well they're doing. So this is the first one. This is a single layer hoop house, and it's just over my Veggie bed. And I created this out of PVC pipe and greenhouse plastic, and I planted it in September. And I think I had started these veggies in July. I wanted them to get as big as possible and as mature as possible before I planted them because of the temperatures and the low light during the winter. You don't get a lot of growth on them in the winter because of those two factors. Now, because this is the south side of my house and we have a neighbor really close by, this is getting far less sun than it does in the summer because the sun is, further south. And so I was a little worried once I figured that out, how well these would do. So I'd covered these with a floating row cover because it was so cold. And it's protected them really well. And I have not had this hoop house open since the beginning of December, and this is the beginning of January. So it's been closed for, let's see, that's over a month. I think it's been 6 weeks that it's been closed. That was the last time I watered it. Mulched it with really heavy straw, and you can see how moist it still is. So the hoop house cover has retained the moisture along with the straw. And the other thing that I've noticed this year is it's the first year that I've actually mulched it with straw pretty heavily, and that has stopped the ground from freezing. Last year when I had my hoop houses and the years prior, the ground always freezes. It doesn't kill the plants and it doesn't seem to be detrimental to them, but I wanted to see if not freezing the ground would spark further growth. Doesn't seem to have done that, but it's looking pretty good. Now I have this kohlrabi here that is ready to harvest, but I think I'm going to store it out here because I'm still eating kohlrabi from the fall. The cabbages, if you look at them right here, they're starting to form heads. This one's a little bigger, but it's still soft. And then this one back here is a decent size and is starting to firm up. But when I generally plan on harvesting these is early March. That's when it has started to warm up enough that the growing resumes on these, and they mature really quickly. Then I have an extremely early harvest, early enough that I can plant spring crops in the same bed. Now the chijimisai right here is ready to harvest all year round, so I just leave this and take leaves as I need it. So let's go look at my other beds and see how they're doing. Now this is my garden. All of these beds are covered in snow. This is my bed where the garlic is, and it has not started to pop up yet. I planted it quite late. And we have some chard here that is still alive, but it's going to bolt really quickly in the spring. But it's still alive. Here's my first double hoop house on my hill. It's west facing. This area here is south, so nothing is blocking it from the sun. And it's looking pretty good too. In this one we have kale and cabbage, more kale and some chard. We have a little bit of kohlrabi in the back. We had grasshoppers living in here for a while until they died off from the cold. So we've got grasshopper damage. The heads on these are about the same as the heads on the other ones in my other hoop house. We don't have a giant kohlrabi, but we have some that could be harvested at this point. This is the Super Schmelz kohlrabi, and they get huge. So this one right here looks like it is about normal size and ready to harvest, but they'll get a lot larger than that. This kale right here seems to be wilting a bit. Let me check the soil moisture. It's a little bit drier here, but it's still quite moist. We have some rain coming tomorrow and the day after, so I think what I'm going to do is just leave this hoop house open and see if we can get some rain in there. If we don't get any rain in there, I might have to bring out a bucket of water and water these. Here's the next one up on the hill. And this one we've got more chijimisai. It's looking really happy back there. We've got some kohlrabi. These are a little bit smaller. And some cabbages. And then we also have carrots that were planted in August that the grasshoppers ate the tops off of. So I've left them in here, and I'm hoping that these will continue to grow and we'll have a spring harvest off of these. Okay, let's check the soil moisture around here. Feels pretty good. And the carrots are still really, really tiny. Not feeling any bulbing up at all. Well, maybe this one is a little bit. It's kind of a small carrot. This one's also small. So I think we're going to have a good spring harvest on these. We'll just leave those in the ground. And I do not have anything planted in these beds down here other than the round one. And the round one has my Jerusalem artichoke planted in that. And that's just going to stay overwintered. I wanted to show you one other interesting thing. This is my front yard green stalk, and I just left it out exposed over the winter, and I just wanted to see what would happen if I did that with the strawberries in it, because I can definitely replace the strawberries. And look at that, 10 degrees, storms, we've still got a living strawberry. This right here is a Johnny Jump Up. It was a purple one that I planted in the spring, last spring. And it's still looking like it's living. It went through the 100-degree temperatures all summer long, and it's gone through the negative 10-degree temperatures with no protection. I didn't even mulch inside here like I thought I might. But there's no mulch, there's no protection, and we still have some green on each one of these. Look at this one. That is absolutely alive. And we've got, look at this little strawberry tucked back in here. It'll be interesting to see in the springtime how much of these are actually living. This one's on the top, so it gets full force all the weather, and it's still growing. It's during the dry spells, when the soil in here started to get really dry over the winter, I did come in and water them. I think I've only watered it once or twice, but with all the rain and the snow that we've had, these have stayed quite wet. So I'm really excited about this to see what it looks like in the spring. Maybe they'll all be dead, maybe they won't. It'll be fun. Now, one other thing I wanted to show you just really quick is how tough Irregular is. This little Irregular plant has been out in this garden with no protection. It just has a straw mulch. And it's peeking up there through the snow. It's had 10-degree weather. It's like the rest of them. It's stayed below freezing for weeks in a row, and look at it. It's still just happily growing. Now, the temperatures this winter have definitely not hit the zone 6 cold temperatures. We've stayed around the zone 7 temperatures. So it hasn't really been that cold, but I do have to say the temperatures have stayed below freezing for weeks in a row. And the fruit and the veggies are still growing. And I have grown them under my covers in colder weather. So if you live in a colder zone, don't give up on winter gardening. You can grow outdoors. You may have to cover some things, and there are some things that will do really well without covering. So just experiment and see what works. And if nothing else works, you can always grow indoors. I'll link a playlist up on top on my indoor growing and what I grow indoors, so you can see what can also be grown indoors if you're in colder climates. And I hope this video has helped you, and if it has helped you, you would really help me a lot if you share it with your friends, subscribe, hit the like button, and go have a wonderful garden adventure.